WTBwJandC. Episode 9. What's happening?
Nueve, man.
Nueve. Numero nueve.
Episode 9.
No doubt. So, we got a crazy world this week, guys.
It has been. This week. It's been a weird week.
This week has been a really long year.
This week has been
Right.
something else, dude.
No doubt. I've been listening to way too many conspiracy theories, which has led me to different videos and thought experiments and all kinds of things.
Conspiracy theories will get you, man. Like,
Dude, I get sucked into those so deep. You remember like a year or two ago when I started getting sucked in really deep to all that crap?
yeah.
I have to keep I keep myself away from conspiracy theories because then you just keep diving and diving.
Oh, yeah.
And diving.
It's like-
and it's then just like the earth is flat. Cheese has never been real. Like
The birds are dreams!
yeah, the birds are they're replacing the battery. Like and you end up believing something that you have no right to believe.
It makes so much sense when you think about it, okay?
Think about it.
You gotta
man.
take
None
a
of
step
this
back
is
and then you
real.
look back and it's like, why the fuck did I believe that?
You know what's crazy is I used to scoff at like simulation theory. It's like, it's no way. But the math likes it. There's like 1,000,000,001 chance that we're not in a simulation. I'm like, this is the best we can do? Why make a simulation if it's just going to suck, right?
I don't know the math on the probability of us
I don't
saying
know the math
simulation.
either. Somebody else did the math. That's somebody doing math somewhere that came up with this probability. Elon Musk is a pretty big advocate of it, which is... I've been listening to a lot of his videos.
Makes
lately,
sense.
too.
He's an odd duck.
He's an odd duck. But Nick Brodstrom is the philosopher that came up with the thing, and I listened to him talk about it for like 3 hours. I was like, wow. It was really eye-opening.
I still don't think we're in a simulation.
Me either. I think we're in base reality, but the numbers are convincing. I'm not going to lie. And that's why I got to be careful around conspiracy theories, because I'll start believing crazy stuff like that.
Well, speaking of crazy stuff, the thing you sent me was trippy.
Yeah. So this actually has to come with a disclaimer. It is information that is only hazardous after you know it.
Which I didn't know was a thing. Like, of all the things you could know,
Yeah.
like, I didn't realize some things had to have a precursor to knowing them.
Yeah. There's some things like that, like the game.
Yeah. I lost.
Yeah, everybody lost. Well, Roko's
Why would you
Basilisk.
do that?
I'm sorry, man. Like, Roko's Basilisk is the same thing. Basically, this is a thought experiment about causality. And the way it goes is, in the future, there's an all-powerful AI that has the ability to simulate every synapse of every human brain that's ever lived. And it can simulate their entire life and determine whether or not they did everything they could to help bring this AI into existence, or if they did nothing. And if you did nothing, then it would torture you for eternity inside the simulation. But if you did what you could to bring it about, you got to live in this heaven-like bliss controlled by an AI where everything's perfect and everyone lives forever and all that crap. But just by knowing about it and doing nothing to bring it about will condemn you.
So at that point,
And it's so weird. Like,
what's the point in not? Like, not.
it's like, well, now
not
that
wanting
you
it to-
know and it determines that you did nothing to help it come into existence, it'll torture you for eternity in the future whenever it does come into existence.
After watching that video,
mindfuck.
I even put on. I went on my Twitter account and I was like, #build the basilisk. I was like, there's my thing. I can prove that I supported it.
Hashtag build the basilisk. Bring it on. We'll build a mechanical god.
It's like not been bothering me, but I've definitely been thinking about it. Like ever since I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, dangerous info, man. It's been weighing on me too. I also watched a bunch of thought experiments that were really interesting.
The thing that I could closely relate it to, before ever knowing that this was even a thing,
Sure.
Was in Mexican culture there are, if I remember correctly, 3 deaths. Right? There's when you actually die. Your body, you get sick, you die.
So like a physical death?
A physical death. When you're forgotten, like in Coco, how people forget you. And the first death is actually when you learn of mortality. And that's
So like when you're a kid?
right.
Oh.
So as a kid, you don't really have a comprehension of mortality. As far as you know, people live, and there's no end to existence until you find out, oh, things can end.
Maybe. Well, little kids know that things die, but I don't know that they fully grasp what that means.
Right, and the first death is actually the grasp of
Yeah.
things
It's like
ending.
usually when like a grandparent passes away or a parent or cousin or somebody close to them, then they can really grasp what it means for someone to die.
To be
And
mortal.
how permanent that is. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the death of your innocence or something.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like you have it until you don't. And I feel like with the basilisk, it's like, oh, I'm ignorant of this whole thing. And then
this
you're
is
just
the
like,
death of your ignorance.
introduce, here's the basilisk. By the way, either support it or be tortured the rest of your life.
It's a simulation, but yeah.
Well, no, the whole thing works under the assumption that the AI would decide to torture people who didn't help it come into existence for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah, that is an assumption made because it
That's
works
a large
on,
assumption.
They explained it. How did they explain it?
They just explained that the AI is so much more intelligent than us that that we don't understand why it made the decision it makes, but that's the decision it made.
Oh, okay, sure.
So I think that's where like you have to give a little leeway in it being a thought experiment.
Well, yeah.
The information is supposed to motivate you towards bringing it into existence because the alternative is you're tortured forever.
Yeah.
So
but the
once
whole
you know,
alternative rests on, it's not a certainty, it rests on the decision that the AI will make later.
right? It's a just in case scenario.
Which is why, I don't know, it didn't really bother me when I read it.
I mean, I'm not worried about it happening, but if it does, I'm gonna be like, motherfucker. Who called that one? The basilisk.
The basilisk.
That's who called it. Yeah, it looks at us like we look at ants, right? Ants is a complex society, and
Basically, the way that the video that you sent me described it was that it's so intelligent that we are incapable of comprehending its thought process.
yeah, something like that.
So yeah, it is a very strong assumption to
Well, it is,
to go
because-
with that. Its first action
And its
is to,
first
like,
action will be to torture everyone
that
who
did.
didn't help it.
It's not its first action.
I don't know why, but it makes me think of like Mass Effect, like with the what were those giant?
The Reapers?
Yes.
Yeah.
You exist.
Well, this is kind of different.
You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it. Like
Yeah. But they allowed life to evolve for the specific purpose of reaping it later.
that's true.
Like, it wasn't a decision they made after they were built. They purposefully seed the galaxy with life so that they can reap it later.
It's called growing a crop.
Well, they pick the best species that evolved, and they make a new reaper. That's how they propagate their species. They basically gather up all of that species and they combine them together and form another reaper. And then they seed life again and let life evolve. And then they pick the best species and do it all over again.
And yes, this is
So
over
it's got
billions
like
of
a
years.
4 billion year gestation period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the reapers are immortal. They
Well, that's helpful.
They basically just sit out in a vacuum of space while they wait for life to evolve again.
To what end? If they're immortal, why would they need to reproduce?
Because that's just how they reproduce. I mean,
The whole point of reproduction.
they can die.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
They're not invulnerable.
They're not
Correct.
vulnerable. They just
Okay.
don't die of old age.
Okay, I heard.
or if they do, it takes a lot longer than a few billion years.
It takes more time than
Because-
we got.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of them. So they've done this cycle hundreds of times.
Well, if it takes billions of years each time, the universe is only 13, 14 billion years old. They couldn't have done it hundreds of times.
Maybe the universe is older in Mass Effect.
Son of a bitch! Yeah, we were talking about a video game. I promised my mom I wouldn't curse so much on this podcast today. So
That's
now
what,
I'm
twice?
hyper aware of it. Yeah, I'm counting.
I was like, you said stuff earlier. I definitely caught you catching yourself.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. I've never actually played Mass Effect, but I hear good things.
The first 3 games are great.
Except for that.
Definitely would recommend them.
Definitely.
The ending, not the best ending in the world, not the worst ending in the world.
Games have ended.
The main problem I had with it was, spoiler for anybody.
La 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 la.
No, there's no spoilers. This game is years old.
This game's years old.
Yeah.
But it's that the whole purpose of the game is like it's all about choice. Like you make choices in the game and it affects like how the game happens.
Through each game, even.
Through each game. Like because you import your decisions from Mass Effect 1 into Mass Effect 2 and it reshapes the world or the universe. But
I'm down.
it doesn't matter what decisions you make.
At the
ending is always the same.
Okay.
Or
man, if that's not a life lesson.
slight variation of different colored lights spreading across the galaxy.
Yeah. Yes.
If that's not a life lesson, it doesn't matter what you do; it ends the same.
I mean, if that was the point, they could have done it better. I feel like.
Like you technically get 3 choices, but all that really changes is that a different color of light shoots across the galaxy in like the cutscene at the end.
Naturally.
Well, no, because then, like, one is you wipe out all technology.
Yeah.
One is you wipe all organic life and leave technology. Or 3, you combined organic and
but in the
technology, and you become this weird hybrid of
Like a cyborg.
basically everybody becomes cyborgs.
but like all life becomes
all life.
We're already cyborgs, though.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we are.
You don't have any mechanical parts in you.
Your phone is an external extension of yourself. It's a tertiary layer of your intelligence.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I could lose my phone and live just.
That is a digital ghost of you.
It's an imprint of him, but not a ghost.
Let's say it's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tertiary layer.
It's a tool. Like that's all it is.
It is. But it's not for...
That's like saying a
lot of
construction
people.
worker, their tool set is an extension of them.
That's not true, because a hammer can't connect to the internet.
No, but
What does connecting to the internet have to do with becoming a layer of
because
you?
I'm saying it has a digital... You have a digital avatar in the form of your phone, your computer, your Xbox. All the things that make up you in the digital world is like a digital extension of yourself. It's like a digital ghost that you've imprinted online.
He has a point. There's an episode of a show called Black Mirror where
I wasn't quoting Black Mirror.
No. But this woman loses her husband in a car accident. Like she's not even there, and she's like distraught about it. And Black Mirror is all about. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone or Outer Limits or whatever. They try to push the boundary.
I've seen a couple episodes of it.
Yeah, it's
really
trippy.
But in this specific one, like her husband dies and she's mourning him, and then someone provides an opportunity to like, hey, I can't, like, I'm sorry for your loss, can't bring him back, but something close, right? So she gets this thing, she puts it in a tub, and it ends up looking exactly like him. And then what she does is basically connects it to the internet, and it downloads all of his data. Everything off of every social media, every account, anything that was remotely even linked to him.
Sure.
And it builds a personality off of it. So it, like,
was it close?
Yeah. Like, but there was like distinctions. There was like gaps. She was like, "Hey, remember that time we went and did this?" And
It's like, no, we didn't take any pictures.
yeah. Right. So
that would be
and like
a good example.
well, also it didn't like there was like maybe he had like a birthmark or a mole in a specific spot. Pictures that you would post online, unless it was like somebody got a nude of him or whatever, wouldn't show that.
Oh, sure.
And so it was really creepy because she was like, "Where's your?" I think if I remember right, she was like, "Where's your mole?" And he was like, "Oh," and then instantly grew one where he thought it was supposed to be.
That would be freaky. Yeah.
Right, but he was like totally. It started out as like phone calls, where she would get phone calls from him, even though he's like not there, and he was like, "Connect me to your phone or your laptop so I can do more."
Okay, so he still had a presence in the digital world, even though his physical body had died. And that's all I'm saying is basically we all are really low bandwidth cyborgs because of our phones.
Low bandwidth.
Super low bandwidth.
I think that would make more sense if we had 100% control of that data.
Yeah, I still don't agree. I don't think that your digital thing is any extension of you. It's more like a fingerprint, something that you leave behind based on what you did.
Well, there's predictive algorithms. They're not advertising to you. They're advertising to the portion of you that you put online.
Yeah, your fingerprint that you left last time you visit, or
Your fingerprint,
over your visits.
extension, your essence, your digital presence, whatever you want to call it.
Digital avatar.
It still is not an extension of you. It's just
Sure it is.
your leavings. It's like tracks. It says what you did and where you went.
Your cookie
Well,
crumbs.
that's
Yeah, your
Not
cookie
true.
crumbs in the forest.
Well, how would you explain something like a predictive algorithm to try and guess what you want to buy before you even know you want it?
It's just an algorithm that watches the stuff that you watch and then makes predictions off of it.
Yeah, in real time, though.
It's still not an extension of you. It's just watching the shit that you did online. It's watching your fingerprints, seeing all the things you touched.
It's like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, I know. A brick wall making weird freaking connections.
I didn't call you weird,
Well, I called you weird.
and I'm right, so shut up.
I can see both your arguments.
But yeah, like
Way to ride the fence, Justice.
No, hey, I'm neither here or there. If anything, convince me. Like, go one way or the other.
I believe that our phones are digital extensions of ourselves.
And I can absolutely see that.
Because after we die, that still exists.
yeah, like your fingerprints exist long after you leave the room where you touched it.
I could do that.
Oh no,
There's a mark there now. Like your skin left oil, it's there.
Sure.
Now,
we could get a black.
Okay,
and
so
be like,
yeah.
oh.
until I clean this table off,
Yeah,
it's there.
I guess until you wipe the phone, huh?
Yeah.
But there's still a presence of you online.
Yeah.
Because even if you wipe somebody's
But
phone,
it's still
on the
not an
computer,
extension
information's still out
of you. It's your fingerprints that you left.
Dude, your social media is totally an extension of you and your personality. Because you build it. You shape it.
Man, I don't ever get on social media, so
Yeah, that's.
I guess it
just you,
doesn't
though.
really affect me.
There's billions of people that do with online digital presences.
But still, it's not an extension of them. It's a way to communicate. It's like a blowhorn.
Right.
Again, it's just a
he's not
tool.
talking about the websites, though.
No.
He's talking about the phone and the data that connects the two.
It's not. It's more than just a tool. Like, how much smarter with your phone are you than you without it?
I mean, how much smarter would you be with an encyclopedia than without it?
I'd be way smarter without it because I have a phone.
Assuming that you don't have a phone, you'd still be smarter
Yeah,
with an encyclopedia because the phone is just a tool.
Well, the tool function the tool
It's a very,
functions
very-
as a tertiary layer of you.
No, it doesn't. It's just a very
does.
powerful tool.
It is a very powerful tool, and that is its function.
Yeah, that's just a tool, though.
To
It
increase
is not an
convenience
extension
and
of you in
intelligence.
any way.
I think you're wrong.
No more than a book. A book also can
If
increase
you
your
write a
intelligence. No, if you read a book.
Oh, well, that's not an extension of you. That's an extension of someone else.
Oh, he's got a point there.
Well, it's an extension of them as in it's like their knowledge. But still, it's not part of them.
Sure, it is.
Sure it is, actually.
Actually, yeah, that is 100% part of them.
No.
Because you,
Yeah,
It's just their ideas
anyone
written
creates
down.
is an extension of themselves.
exactly. If I draw a picture, that's an extension of me at that particular moment in time.
So you're part paper?
no,
No, it's
Part
it's what. No, see,
I'm not
see,
part
I think
digital
I
either.
think he's looking at it at a practical sense.
He's looking at it too pragmatically. You're too literal in a sense.
You're scoped in. We need you to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, just think-
Look at the bigger picture here.
abstractly, more abstractly.
Okay. So the phone is an extension of Steve Jobs.
No. So
His
if,
phone would be.
no.
That was
So
fun.
if that was the case, we'd be talking about specifically the iPhone.
Oh yeah, yeah. I found
Anyway, it was a joke.
it. Right. It was funny. I got it. But his phone would be an extension
Okay,
of
so
him.
I could get that, art or something is an extension of you. But still, your phone is not.
I think we're
your
just gonna die on
your
different hills,
online
man.
presence is not an extension of you, it's a fingerprint that you leave.
I would disagree, man. I think we're just gonna die on separate hills.
I mean, we may, because you have not said anything convincing about your argument to me.
Not to you. There's 100 people that are gonna listen to this and go, "Josh is crazy."
There's just as many people, if not more, are going to say Josh is right.
Well,
Leave it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Who do you agree with on this
who
subject?
do you agree with?
I have to agree with Cody. I'm on Cody's side on this one.
Yeah,
Soul of an
I'm
artist.
just not.
Nah, you do. You're a literal person, so I get why this doesn't track the way I'm trying to explain it. And then maybe it's me and my inability to explain what I mean. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we're just going to die on different hills. I'm just going to leave it there.
Okay.
It's a great place to leave it.
Great place to leave it. In the
So we'll end it
streets.
now? Dying on different hills?
We're dying on different hills. See you next week.
Speaking of streets,
Speaking of these streets,
holy...
can we agree it's wrong to burn down your neighborhood?
Yeah.
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 I can agree to that.
Yeah, that's a bad way. That's what a child does when it throws a tantrum. Burns things or destroys things or throws a fit.
If your child is burning shit down when they throw a tantrum,
Hey, man.
you need to work on that child.
But
I mean, you got to work on a kid. That's what I'm saying. You need to work on these kids that are out there burning
But
things
do you
down.
agree that that's the minor issue?
Yeah, that's just a side thing that's going on to the protest. The protest I don't have a problem with because that is your right as an American to do so. If you have a problem,
Right.
speak
But
up.
I mean, protests,
Don't burn your neighborhood
protests
down.
and riots and looting aside, like I get looting should not be done. Rioting is
Are you talking
obviously
about the murder of George Floyd?
correct.
Yeah.
Well, not even the murder. Like that's the catalyst. That the whole systemic issue of prior is what's the problem, and everything else is just consequences of that.
Maybe. I don't think I have ground to stand on for that argument because I've never experienced systemic prejudice. It would be impossible for me to weigh in, but I can empathize with someone who has.
Yeah.
Just because I don't see it happening to me doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right.
But I also think that sometimes it gets blown out a little bit of proportion.
But that has to.
Not to say that it is not a huge injustice. Like, I am totally on the side of the protesters. It's a super touchy subject.
Oh, absolutely. So I've definitely tried to stay. I don't want to say away from it because you can't. Like everyone's talking about it, everyone's posting about it.
Yeah, well, they had to get their minds off the quarantine.
That's part of it, actually.
Probably.
And I get that. But I've definitely tried to keep it at a distance, I guess, because I'm not directly affected by any of it. It's a really hard topic to talk about for a lot of
It is. It's a hard line to toe. I think that you should be able to protest about anything you want, whenever you want. Probably don't stand on a highway to do it. But the whole thing is, like, I see the initial people saying, don't burn your town down, don't riot in the streets, all this racial stuff. And then people will get on and respond to that and say things like, well, whenever whoever won the series, white people rioted in the streets and all this. It's like, yeah, it was still wrong for them to do that. Like, it doesn't justify anything to say that, well, you did it too. That's just two groups of idiots.
No, I don't disagree there.
And the looters and rioters take away from the message that the protesters are trying to get across. Like, most people saw a white cop kill a black man. I saw a murderer kill an innocent man. That is the main point, is an innocent man was killed unjustly by a police officer. And you can't have that in an organization like the police. Those kinds of mistakes are unacceptable.
I think it was Chris Rock. Have you seen that? Chris
Yeah,
Rock
it's
says,
like most of our pilots like to land.
Right, you can't have a bad seat in some jobs. American Airlines is, most of our pilots like to land. It's like, and coming from someone that works in the airline business,
No
like,
doubt.
yeah.
You say most?
You don't want that guy.
Yeah, so I get it. But yeah, a pilot, the comparison between a pilot and a police officer is, I mean, it's funny for a joke, but it's not the same thing at all.
No, because one of them is in danger, where the other one...
Well, and how many people...
both of them can put people in danger, but one of them is always has the possibility
It's a
of being
dangerous
in danger.
job to be
Right.
a cop because you're not in control of who's out to get you just because you're a cop.
Right, because there absolutely are
But there's
bad
white people that
out
feel
there.
like that too. They're scared to be around a cop because they're black. They're afraid they're going to get shot.
Yeah. There's
It's a
too much
uniform
of
they
that.
can't take off.
Right.
And it's really sad that is the situation that we're faced with. I mean, it's just a bad situation. I don't want to weigh in too much on this because I don't want to like overstep my boundaries and say something that would upset somebody, but that's how I feel. Don't burn your neighborhood down. If a cop is choking somebody out on the ground and they're yelling, "I can't breathe," probably don't record it and just go over there and try to help them.
Well, you can't just go over and try and help somebody that the cops are holding down.
You can if you get a big enough group of people.
No. That just opens a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, that really does.
I mean, but I'm not saying openly attack the police, but that guy...
I mean, you kind of did just say that.
No, I didn't.
You said go over there and help him.
Don't put words in my mouth. I did not say openly attack the police. I said if they are crushing a man's neck on the sidewalk, probably try and stop it. Don't get shot. Go over there and say, "Hey, man, he clearly cannot breathe. I'm recording you. What's your name? What's your badge number?"
They did.
But that shouldn't...
Did you ever watch the actual...
I watched the video, yeah.
People were saying that. There were tons of people standing around
the thing is
telling the cops to get off him, that he needs to breathe.
That shouldn't be their response. Their response should be, "Hey, let's help this guy." Like, they can detain somebody without killing them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. Is how long did that guy lean on his neck? 8 minutes or something?
Something like that. I forget.
Way
I forget the exact
too long.
number.
I can understand landing accidentally on someone's neck, but that was very clearly murder.
Yeah, well,
that man was murdered.
I think as of yesterday, I saw a thing about it. The guy that was on his neck is being charged with second-degree felony murder.
Yes.
And then the other 3 officers that were helping are being charged with accessory to second-degree felony murder.
Yeah, I saw something about that today.
And I think they all have like a $750,000 bail.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Whatever it is. They're being punished, as they should.
Or they're being charged.
They're being charged. They haven't actually been to court yet for it.
Well, they've been
And
fired and that main guy's been divorced, so his punishments have started.
Yeah. Well, his consequences have started.
Consequences have started. His punishment will start when he goes to jail, but...
Yeah. Seeing everything that's happened, it made me made me think back to... Now, granted, I was only 2 years old when this happened, but it made me think of the riots in '92 in LA for Rodney King.
The Rodney King.
And
I've heard a couple people make that comparison.
Yeah, me too.
So I obviously don't know anything really about them. I was 2 years old when they happened, but it's interesting to see the damage that was done during those riots, which are crazy. Like what happened to LA and the amount of things that was destroyed and all that.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer like you even call it the Rodney King riots. You don't call it the case of Rodney King or whatever. It's the Rodney King riots. Like the riots took over the whole incident. That's the name now.
Well, that's kind of what's happening now.
Right. And that's the comparison I was seeing. Like,
definitely overshadowing George Floyd's actual case.
Yeah, his brother came out on the news and asked everybody to quit because they're tarnishing the memory of his brother. It's like he wasn't about that.
Yeah.
Killer Mike, I don't know if you guys have seen him. He came out and said the same thing. Like, this is the time for people to organize and come together and basically to protest, and that destroying stuff is not helping. Like, not helping anything. Like you said. It's tarnishing everything that...
Well, the problem with that is those people aren't even listening because they don't care. Looters and stuff, they don't care about George Floyd or what happened. They're just trying to steal stuff and get stuff for free.
They're capitalizing on the distraction.
Destroy stuff, Because you guys know, what's his name? Is it Jake Paul?
Yeah.
That you took his asshole? Mm. He got... caught like on film
looting,
like he was a looter.
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Is that Logan Paul's little brother or something like that?
I think it was Jake Paul. Maybe it was Logan. It was one of the Pauls.
I don't know. It was one
of the Pauls. I can't remember which one, but I remember that someone caught him on film out looting,
and that's a thing now. Yeah.
Well, good. I hope somebody found him and hit him in the face with a can of tomatoes or something. But
I think he's been arrested.
Oh, good. I hope that still happens to him when he gets out of jail. Somebody just walks up and pow. I know it's bad to wish harm on other people, but something about a good ass whooping that gets your attention.
To backtrack a little bit to what Cody said earlier, like, what can you do? when you see the cops doing something.
You can stand between them.
I don't think you can.
You can't.
Not for long, because they'll push you out of the way, but
They will arrest you for obstruction if you stand between the cop.
they're not
going
to arrest 50 of you.
But
They call for backup, they will.
Then that's what they're going to have to do. The point is, you have to make it so hard for them to do what they're going to do that they can no longer do it.
The point is, what I'm saying is, there's nothing you can physically do to stop the cops without incurring massive consequences to yourself.
It's true.
I'm
not saying
even if you're in the right, like if you tried to get between a cop and someone he was arresting, all that's going to happen is you're getting arrested too.
All the cop can do is arrest you, and then a jury decides whether or not you should be punished.
I mean, jury decides usually whether or not you're guilty.
And the judge decides your punishment.
And then the judge decides your punishment.
Well, then that's still not the cops. But my point
it's the
is,
justice system.
like, if you saw somebody being murdered, you wouldn't do anything?
Being murdered?
20 feet away from you? Somebody getting their neck leaned on in the middle of the street?
By a cop?
But these are the people you're supposed to be listening to.
It's by a cop is the asterisk on this part of it there that makes it harder.
It does. It's got special
If I
rules.
just saw, Justice beating the shit out of someone, yeah, I'd try and pull Justice off. I'd be like, whoa, dude, I don't know what happened here.
But it probably needs to stop.
But it needs to stop.
It doesn't look good. Yeah.
But yeah.
We need to come up with some sort of intellectual argument to make to the officer so he stops whatever he's doing.
But what I'm saying is, if the officer says no, there's really nothing you can do, because that's what happened. The people that were surrounding and filming, like, they were telling the cops to stop, that the cops were killing him. And the cop said, he's fine, stay over there.
I mean, the guy was literally saying, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I screamed it for like 8 minutes.
I think the whole point is to not have cops doing that thing.
That is definitely
one of the things I saw
outcome.
was, and this was
That's excessive.
one of the cops, not one of the cops, but another cop, an officer, was saying, like, when there is no on-site emergency services, like, police are said emergency services.
They're first responders.
Yeah, absolutely. So they should be taking care of someone when no one else can.
Yeah.
Or is available to, rather. So, like, I get what you're saying, man, but the whole, like I said, the whole point is to not have officers thinking that is a solution.
Well, that's the
okay.
problem. Is there is special rules when it's a cop, and I think they know that. You can't stop a cop from performing their on-duty duties.
Yeah.
Because that's obstruction of justice, and you can go to jail for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So what would you do, man? I'm lost. I don't have the answers.
I would tell the cop to stop.
No, I would film. I'm with you, dude. I don't know what the answer is.
Like, I would film it to make sure there's evidence of what's happening.
And I think that's a big thing.
If it were happening to me, I would want somebody to come drop kick the cop off of me.
No one can do that.
I know.
That's
the thing, is when it's happening to you, that's your life. At the end of your life, the last thing you hear is be like, oh man, it's too bad we can't stop anything.
Well, that's what they were
That's
saying.
the end of your
they
life.
were saying, stop it, let them breathe, let them up. Like, that was the last things he was hearing.
Honestly, I probably would have went to jail because I would have probably speared that cop off the dude.
Yeah, you definitely would have went to jail.
He's obviously detained. He's got handcuffs on. You've got him on the ground. Get off of his fucking neck. Sorry, I'm very upset about that. It bothers me a lot. I don't like...
As it should.
I don't like that there are people in society with that much power, and it's difficult to become a cop, but anybody can basically do it. You have to pass a physical part and psychological part. And then that's pretty much it. You go through your training and you become a police officer, and whatever your personality is after that evaluation, doesn't matter.
Well, I think they have to go through psychological evaluations every now and then.
Every so often, like if they shoot somebody, they have to go and talk to a therapist. Like, that's just standard procedure. They have to go through that and I get it on the cop side, because they have to deal with people who constantly lie to them, who they every day they go to work and they have to deal with the worst people in their city.
Absolutely.
Liars, wife beaters, murderers, thieves, drug dealers, all of them.
I have a friend that works for Meridian PD, and every time I see him, he's told me some stuff. Like he's never specific, but he's like things that I think even in our city, which is like I think of it like a haven of like, no, crazy shit doesn't happen here. Oh no, it absolutely does.
Oh, crazy
Absolutely.
shit happens everywhere.
Absolutely
Definitely
does.
to a much smaller extent here.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this area is
But
a
it's
very
still-
safe
Well,
area.
yeah, there's not millions of people here either.
But it does happen.
It does happen,
There's
and
almost a million. How many?
There's 1.7 million people in the state, and there's about 700,000 in
Yeah,
Treasure
there's
Valley.
about 750,000 in the valley. Yeah.
But I mean, like, and he's my friend. We worked together at the airport for a while, and I really care about him. And when he became an officer, I was like, dude, that's great. Like, was rooting for him because I've always considered him a really intelligent person, always sociable. I knew he cared about people, and so when I see stuff like this that other officers are doing, he's not related to anything like this person would do. I know for a fact he would never do anything like this. It makes me think of an incident that happened a while ago. I think it was like last year. But a Meridian officer got shot, and I was like, and they never like right away tell you, oh, it was so and so.
Well, yeah, while the investigation's open.
So my first thought was like, holy fuck! I contacted his wife. I was like texting him. I was like, please tell me that's not you. Please tell me that's not you. Please tell me that's not you.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's weird to have someone you trust in a job, like that, and then not really trust the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
I feel like for me personally, I think there should be a level of like, I trust the pilots when I go flying. Like,
Well, that's your only option.
right? That's my
But
only
it's
option.
also your only option to trust the police.
That's my point. Like that. Like I have to trust that they're going to be the good guys here.
And most cops aren't like that.
I know.
I've had run-ins with really horrible people that happen to be cops, and I've run into people that are really good that were cops.
I've been in terrible
I
situations.
got pulled over last night.
I've been in terrible situations where the cop was.
much.
I haven't been pulled
Way
over
better
in a
than I
long
deserved.
time, my friend.
Yeah, I've been in situations where the
You know how many
cop was way
times?
better than I deserved. But like,
Yeah, and it's like, man, they're just out doing their job. They don't know if if when they walk up to your window, they don't know if you have a gun. They don't know if you're gonna throw it in reverse and try to run them over.
right?
They don't know. They
So
they
many-
got wives and kids and shit like that too.
I know.
They're
And
just people.
Why can't we just see people as people, man?
Yeah, that's the big problem. We don't see people as people. We see
We see groups of people.
we see groups of people.
Yeah.
That's just how our brains work. But we gotta get past that. That's some leftover monkey shit.
Yeah.
It is. Like we are better as a species than what we are doing right now to each other. I'm really proud of humanity. I posted this the other day. I'm really proud to be a member of the human race, and I'm very proud of the accomplishments that we've done in such a short amount of time since we've existed. But at the same time, I am ashamed at how a lot of us treat each other and act. It's like, I don't know. My view towards society has shifted from like optimistic to kind of neutral to more like nihilistic now, or pessimistic. It's just that I've lost all faith in people. But a person is different when it's one-on-one, You can reason with a person, but large groups of people like that, it's mob mentality. Mob mentality.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get swept up in that stuff. Your emotions are running high. Your heart's probably pounding because, you're literally in a standoff with the police or whatever. And, you're just out there with a message. Be like, hey, can we please stop killing innocent people? Like, that would be rad. And then people are going to say that you're a piece of crap for protesting. And it's just more and more hate. You're just putting hate in the world, man. It's not helping anything.
You tell him, Cody.
Yeah, just be nice to each other. It's not that goddamn hard. We're out of time, aren't we?
No.
Okay. You're looking at me. I was like, oh, let me say something smart.
No, you were on a roll, man.
I thought you actually just said something smart.
Yeah. Look at you.
If you wanted to end it on a smart note, that would have been the note.
Damn it!
So let's shift topics here.
Yeah, no, I'm all riled up now.
All right, let's mellow it out. So I just found out something that I did not know. So one of my favorite underrated movies. It's not like my favorite movie, but Speed Racer. Right?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
What?
Speed Racer. It's not a great movie.
That came out of nowhere.
So I think it's a great movie. It's not like amazing. It's not the best, but I love it. It's visually amazing.
All right.
I think the actors in it are great.
I don't think I ever watched it.
You've never seen Speed Racer?
Yeah, no, I can't. I interrupt you.
I've seen
What
the
was
cartoon,
saying?
but I've never seen a movie.
Yeah, so I watched the cartoon when I was a kid.
You've never seen the movie. Do yourself a favor and watch. Okay, so I would say you've seen The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's seen The Matrix.
Yeah.
When you watch it, it's by the Wachowski brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just found out.
Aren't they the Wachowski sisters?
Yeah, they're the
now?
sisters now.
Yes, that's what blew me away. And that's what the whole tie-in with the Speed Racer is, because they also did the Speed Racer movie. But yeah, it should be the Wachowski sisters or the Wachowski siblings, but they're not brothers anymore. You know, that blew my mind, and that's apparently old news.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I heard that a long time ago.
I didn't know how true it was because it just kind of sounded like one of those rumors that people just show up. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's one of those internet conspiracy. Like nobody's gonna check. But no, apparently it actually happened. They both underwent the. What's the official name of that surgery? It's the transgender surgery.
Gender reassignment surgery.
Gender reassignment surgery. Yeah.
I do not claim to know everything.
Yeah. There was an old joke. It's like, what's it called when a woman undergoes that procedure? It's an addictomy.
Anyway,
that was a joke in 2008. Now it's kind of offensive.
A lot of.
Yeah, I may have to cut that out. Who knows?
Who knows? You do whatever feels right, man. I've made my points very clear. Just be nice to people. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I've definitely watching older movies is rough now.
That is true.
That is true. Sometimes you watch older movies and you see stuff like, wow,
Specifically comedies, though.
they got away with that?
Yeah, you ask yourself that a lot.
I watched Ace Ventura the other day, and I was like,
yeah.
I was ready for it. I was like, I remember this movie being so funny, and it still is, but the humor in it is very problematic.
What specifically? Because I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Well, obviously, at the end, when Einhorn turns out to be the transsexual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, transgender.
Captain Winky!
Right. The captain of the police force ends up being a transgender football player.
Yeah, but they didn't say anything bad about transgenders.
They put him in a very particular light, and it's just like like I said, the humor in it's problematic. Like today,
that would have never flied in like a new movie that they made. No, that would have never been okay.
And there's a whole scene of him like burning his clothes, brushing his teeth any amount of times because he kissed her.
Yeah,
right. Like
him. Was pronouns a thing back then?
They're a thing now.
They're definitely a thing now.
I'm sure.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like if I had found out that I'd accidentally just made out with a dude, I probably wouldn't take it that well. It's not that I have anything against gay people. I'm just not into making out with dudes.
Right, and that's
not for me. I'm not saying I'd burn my clothes and freak out, but he was an over-the-top character to begin with.
No, absolutely. Well, like I said, the whole humor in it's problematic. So it's like going back and watching it now, having a different mindset on acceptance of people and humor about them.
Definitely like that.
Like it. I'm not just saying it takes away. It just it's like, oh, hey, that's a thing.
Hey, here's something that'll make you happy. Is every day we become the grown-ups. Make the rules, man. We're the grown-ups now. It's time,
For better or worse.
For better or worse, we are the grown-ups. We make the rules. It's so weird. That's a weird kind of power you can't buy.
Yeah.
And you can't keep.
I do want to talk about one more angry thing before we finish off with nice things.
You want me to talk about it?
So, Lafayette Park. Have you guys seen the stuff about that?
I am in the dark here. I have no idea.
Okay, so this was a couple of days ago now. It was when Trump made his big address out in the garden and then walked over to that church for his photo op.
Okay.
Holding the Bible?
Yeah, holding the Bible upside down.
Okay.
Okay.
So to get to that park from the White House, or to get from the White House to that church, you have to cross through Lafayette Park.
Okay.
Lafayette Park is right next to the White House and it's public land, so there's always protests happening there.
Sure.
And now, obviously, there's protests happening there.
Makes sense.
But Trump wanted to walk through the park to that place. So to do that, they cleared out the protesters first. And it was just the worst instance of unnecessary force. Because these, not rioters, I want to make that point. There was no rioting happening. This was just a peaceful protest happening in the park. And federal agents and riot gear came in throwing some kind of gas. They said it was just smoke. Some people said it was, the protest said it was tear gas.
It was probably CX gas.
Anyway, yeah, against just peaceful protesters using gas, rubber bullets, batons, and shields. Like, there was a whole picture of them like slamming
That old man with the
Australia. No, it was not an Australian journalist.
Oh.
Was there like filming the protest, and they like slammed the cameraman up against a fence with their shield and just hit him with the baton
Can't
as
do
they
that.
were shoving people out of the park.
You can't do that and expect people to still respect you.
But yeah, and again, like, this was before curfew, no violence happening, just a protest, and they went in and gave like no warning to anyone. They didn't even tell the DC police they were doing it. The police,
they don't have to.
yeah,
but
the police didn't find out it was happening until they went in.
Damn.
And like, it just made me so angry.
Yeah,
Thinking about it.
it should.
Like, that is just trampling all over those people's rights to
That is
protest on public land.
Blatant police brutality.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the police; it was the Secret Service.
And it
Federal
was,
agents,
as last I read, I didn't even see like what agency the people were from, just that they weren't from the DC police. So they were some
probably Secret
form of
Service.
federal agents. Oh, there was
Maybe FBI, maybe private contract security.
but either way, it was just ridiculous. Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Unnecessary, unconstitutional.
Uncalled for, and illegal. Like,
Yeah.
You can't tell the press to fuck off.
All so the president could walk from the White House to that park for the big photo op, because the next day they released like a video that was of the president like walking, trying to make him look all manly.
I get why he needs the protection to walk around in public, because a lot of people don't like him.
Wait, but it wasn't like
Any president.
he had
Any
protection.
president has
like,
that, yeah.
had they just surrounded the president and cleared a single path through the park,
Yeah.
yeah, fine with that.
If they would have just said, make way. We're
Yeah.
coming through.
Make
We are
way.
on.
They formed a pathway through the
barrier.
park for the president, but they didn't. They cleared out the entire park with people with riot gear and shields and tear gas, supported by freaking cavalry.
Well,
They were
they
freaking-
crossed the line between aggression and violence.
Yeah, they
Because they
instigated
have to
the
be
violence.
aggressive for that job. I get it. You have to be aggressive, so grab people's attention really quickly. But you don't have to be violent. Just tell them to move.
Yeah,
If they don't, then, get them to move. But don't beat them with a baton.
yeah.
Unless they're, physically attacking you,
Like, that's
you
something.
have no reason to attack them. They have every right to be there.
Like, it made me mad because it was something like I would never expect to happen in America.
Not here.
Like, I'm all for like riot police taking down looters and arresting them and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, but just peaceful protesters in a place that they're allowed to fucking be.
Yeah, they were completely within their rights. If I'm understanding this correctly, they were in a public space. You have to have a permit for protest. Like, that is something that can get you screwed. If you're protesting, if you're going to go protest, you have to get a permit from the city to do the protest. Otherwise, you can be arrested.
That is true. But yeah, they had it. It was a legal, peaceful protest happening there. They got cleared out with like extreme aggression and violence
Yeah, see,
from
that's-
federal agents.
That's crossing the line.
All for the president's photo op and little video they wanted to make of him manually walking out of the White House.
I don't care if he had to take the biggest dump in his life. That's uncalled for.
Exactly. It's completely bullshit.
Yeah. No. Boo on that. No, thank you.
How do you guys feel about the protests in other countries outside of the U.S.?
For what? What are they protesting?
The same thing.
The George Floyd?
Oh, really? I didn't know that there were international protests.
Yeah, I had no clue. I know there's one in every state.
I know that.
Yeah, no, there's been...
Like Hong Kong is still protesting against China. I still hear that in the news coming up.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's going to die down anytime soon.
They either just passed or are about to pass some new security bill that's really going to tighten their grip.
It's just
on Hong Kong
restricting the rest of their freedoms.
Yeah. Basically will allow them to just arrest anyone for anti-China sentiment.
Yeah.
Anyone for any reason.
And be able to hold businesses accountable for the actions of their employees too.
Ooh.
That if their employees show anti-China sentiment, they can punish the business itself.
That's rough.
Yeah, what a wonderful place.
Yeah.
There's been Black Lives Matter protests in other countries. The biggest one that I've seen the most of is I believe it was in London. I could be wrong, but big speaker there was John Boyega from Star Wars.
I'm unfamiliar.
The new Star Wars trilogy.
The new was he?
Yeah, you have to. Who was that actor? I don't know the actor.
He played Finn.
Finn.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. John Boyega is the former Stormtrooper black actor.
Traitor.
Yeah. Well, he was
treasonous film. I'm an Empire man. No. Anyway, so he was in London doing a speech, presumably. Or?
Yeah, but I didn't realize that there have been protests for the same thing outside of the U.S.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
How would they protest that there?
Well, I guess the probably is just saying that it's a problem there too.
Oh, okay.
But they've been George Floyd signs and everything, and it could be just to put pressure on their government, to put pressure on ours.
It could be like a big act of global solidarity.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, literally no one's okay with what happened, and you need to do something about it.
It's kind of
we're at the point we need to do something about
it. If not before, then now.
The sooner the better.
Absolutely. Man. Like we started off. What a week.
What a week.
What a week. This is all in a week. Dude. It's June 4th. This is nuts, man. What happened to the murder hornets? Were they just a bust, or
no? That was I've seen memes. It was a side quest.
That was a side quest for 2020.
Right? It's like, oh, people are coming together during this quarantine and actually forgetting about their differences, because it sucks for everybody. It's like, oh, let's start a race riot.
Right.
That's the way.
Big thing that scares me, riots aside, the coronavirus still is a thing.
Oh.
Right?
It's still going on.
On top of that, September is coming up real close, and that's when as far as I know, the timeline ends for companies that took any bailout, where they can start furloughing people.
To be... Well, it depends on how many people that is, but that's 2 months before the presidential election?
Yeah.
It seems a little wonky, I guess. Did you ever notice how these race riots pop up about every election cycle? They're more prevalent in the news, at least. It's still going on every day, but this riot is so big and holds so much attention. I haven't seen anything about COVID in a week.
Yeah.
And it was literally all that was on the news.
Dude,
this entire time.
I will say the memes have been great about this year and how everything that could go wrong has. I saw one that was a meme, and it was one guy hitting another, and it was 2020 hitting 2012. That's how you do an apocalypse. Right? And I'll just...
You see that one about the dyslexic mom?
There was the one about the dyslexic Mayan translator who accidentally wrote 2012 when he meant 2021.
Yeah. Like, and for me personally, I turned 30 this year, and it's like, wow,
Dude.
what a year to turn 30.
I turned 30 in 6 days.
Oh,
Yep.
right?
I turned 30 in a month.
I turned 30 in August.
This is not how I saw 30
Me either.
going when I was like 22, 23.
When did you see yourself at 30 when you were 20?
I tried not to.
When I was 20 and I was thinking about myself at 30, I figured I'd be married and have a house and, working legs and, just your generic stuff. I figured I would have gone to a few festivals, made some new friends, did some new stuff, maybe have my degree finally, one of them. I've got way too many college hours to not have a degree. Like, I could graduate right now with like a general education degree. Because you only need 60 hours and I have like 98 college credits. But it's all in different fields. Like, I don't have enough credits in one field to get a degree in that field.
Yeah. When you just get your general, just take whatever classes you need for
Just get that degree and then go back and get whatever degree you actually wanted.
That's just paperwork.
Hey, even that paper, people are like, oh, you actually, hey.
Oh, hey, do you know you're only like 6 hours away from a botany degree? Like, what?
What classes do I need to take?
Sign me up.
Fine art.
Like, yeah, right. I have taken literally no botany classes. It's like, yeah, those are the ones you're missing.
Botany 1 and Botany 2. That's all I need.
Botany 2, man. That's it. Plantonomics. Jeez. Yeah, it's screwy. That's another thing I could go off about is the education system in America.
Oh, don't get me started.
But yeah, we're going to run out of time.
Don't get me started on Betsy DeVos. Oh my god.
Oh man, it's nuts. I think an education is a really good thing to have and it's worth pursuing, but we got to do something about bringing that cost down.
Education is important,
Yeah.
not necessarily schooling. Let's put that out there.
Well, the piece of paper can be important.
Yeah.
The piece of paper is what's important.
The knowledge is
The
available.
truth is,
but the paper
most
you have to
of
buy.
the knowledge that I have learned in college and high school, I have not used since college or high school.
Right.
Some of it I have because I'm a nurse. So obviously the nursing classes I took,
Sure.
I used that knowledge.
Right.
But like algebra, don't ever use that in my life. All the science classes I
That's
took.
crazy. I use algebra all the time. Well, in construction. But
Yeah. But yeah, you need it for certain things, but for other things you don't. Like,
But
as a nurse, all you really need to know is basic mathematics and
in conversions.
how to count a couple of formulas for how to calculate
But I
specific
feel like there
medical
should.
stuff.
I feel like there should be a baseline of knowledge that people should have.
And that's what the high school diploma
And that's what the high school
for.
diploma is
That's your
for.
baseline knowledge.
But still, it is a large section of that knowledge most people will not use in their day-to-day life. Unless they go on to do something that requires that knowledge. Like if you want to be an engineer, yeah, you're going to need advanced
Well, I
mathematics.
think the
You're gonna
point
need
of
to know
it
that.
is to expose as many children as possible who are deciding what they're going to do with their future to as many options as they can. You're not going to use,
And that's good. Like that's needed.
Yeah, you're not going
Like,
to
you
use
need to-
chemistry if you go into a field that doesn't use chemistry.
You
or
need to
something like that,
experience a little bit of a lot of things, especially when you're young,
Yeah,
to
that's how
figure
you
out what
find
you
your
want to
passion.
do. But at the college level is where I think it's excessive. The requirement of college classes
Oh yeah.
is dumb. Like fine art is required for most degrees.
It is.
Why?
Fine art.
Why does an engineer need to take fine art?
So my first degree.
Why does a
my
nurse
first,
need to take fine art? They
major was mechanical engineering, and my first class was fine art and an environmental class.
The environmental class I could see.
No, it was a sociology class.
Oh,
It was People in the Environment was the name of the class, and it was about socioeconomics.
okay. Yeah, I see that.
I was like, this is nothing to do. Like, and then they put me in like a sophomore level CAD software class with that had a prerequisite that I didn't even have available. So I got into the class. I failed it, obviously.
Because you didn't know what you were doing.
I had no clue. I had no idea what was going on. I got screwed in my first semester. And then my second semester, I did okay. That was when... No, we didn't break up. Me and Liz had a huge fight before my midterms. Like, literally on the way to my midterms. She was being horrible to me, and I went in and bombed all of them. So I failed 2 classes and passed 2, but I failed the midterms.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? Doesn't matter. I have tons of college credit and no degree. Is that where I was headed?
I have a lot of credit too, and I don't have much of a degree. I have my certificate for completing nursing school, but I don't actually have a degree in anything.
Well, you were going to pursue that.
But I have like 90-something credit hours, yeah.
Yeah. And my second degree, I've changed my majors several times, so I don't have a degree.
Me too. That's part of the problem too, is I did change my major multiple times when I started college before I decided to go to nursing school. So that was part of it.
Yeah. College is an expensive place to find out what you want to do.
It is. College is an expensive place to find out what you want to do.
I would recommend figuring that out before you go.
Anything you can learn in college, you can learn on your own. I would suggest doing that first. Figure out what you want, then go to college and get the piece of paper.
Yeah.
That is the best advice in 2020, right?
So my sister is graduating, senior this year. So she's going to be going into school. Yeah, because last time we talked about the graduation parade.
Yeah.
And I think she wants to get into film, specifically directing.
Oh, cool.
And
That'd be cool.
I think that is so rad.
That's a fine arts class. I can
And
justify that.
that's a fine arts class that you need.
No, for my business degree, I needed fine arts.
Right. And I think that's so rad. And I think she's already taken some steps into solidifying her interest in it. But like, I really, really, really hope she sticks with it. Because I think
that would be super cool.
I think it's so hard to not already know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because there's so many options in the world that people, like, the indecision that people have holds them back so much. And it's like, find something. Like, it doesn't have to be the one thing you love. Because a lot of people will do something they love for their money and then not love it anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
That could be true.
And that's a really
becomes work.
And it's a really hard balance because you want to keep what you love as something you love.
It's like when you listen to your favorite song every single day, and then you never listen to it again because you burned yourself out.
Right.
You can do that with your job very easily.
But when you come back to that song after not hearing it for 2 years, you're just like,
you remember what you loved about it.
That song hits so hard again.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because I've been watching a lot of stuff about filmmaking because they've been popping up in my recommendeds.
Me too.
On YouTube.
Like video editing and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's a guy who he's a filmmaker and he does like a filmmaker reacts and does like video game cinematics and stuff. And he talks about like the different kinds of shots and the different effects they're doing and why they're doing them in the shots. And it's just very interesting when he breaks it down.
Well, what's the name of his channel?
I forget. It's the guy's name is just the name of his channel.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe Zoe would be into that.
Absolutely.
Maybe checking it out. I mean, it's only serves.
There's a handful of movie critics that I go to and watch. Mainly they don't do necessarily film critiques, but they do video essays on film styles.
Okay.
That's how he was talking about. I can't remember the name of his channel. But he ended up talking about, because I'm a fan of older film, my favorite movie of all time is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, which I'm pretty sure came out in like 1939.
Yep, never heard of it.
Really old film. Anyway,
sure.
He talks about one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and some people
that was before Alfred Hitchcock.
Some people said Hitchcock, some people say Spielberg, some people say
they're the best directors
Cameron,
of our time.
Some people say Lucas.
Chris Columbus is a really good director. He directed like the first couple of Harry Potter
but I can't
movies.
remember the name of the director, but I ended up watching an old movie called Double Indemnity, and it's basically a woman wants to commit insurance fraud by killing her husband in a specific way.
Sure.
Where she gets not only his life insurance policy, but I think more than that.
She also gets the Tiger Zoo. That bitch, Carol Baskin. I hate that the fucking Tiger King was the most normal part of this whole year.
It really was.
Found that guy's name. It's Chris Connor.
Chris Connor.
That's the name of his channel. Yeah, he does filmmaker reacts to different things.
I feel like you guys definitely need a researcher. Like while we're talking, be like,
we need a Jamie.
For sure. That's where we're going to end it, guys. Figure out what you love to do, and then go get the piece of paper for it.
And then do that thing.
Yeah. I like that. That's a very good note, despite everything we've talked about. I like that note.
That's a good note.
That's the note to the note.
Be nice to people. Find out what you want to do that thing.
That's great.
If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button.
Hit that mystery bell.
You want to see more, subscribe. Important links are down below. Apparently last time I misspelled Justice's name.
Yes, you did.
We had to invite him back just so we could fix
So I
it.
had to invite him back so I can fix his name.
Justice, thanks for being here again, man. We appreciate it.
I love being
Love
here
your
talking with
input.
you guys.
Yeah, no, it's a good time, buddy. Thanks again. You guys take care. Be nice to each other.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.